You know, in the natural arena, we really don't diagnose diseases and we don't cure diseases. What we really do is we look for balance, because truly the human body does not recognize a disease state. It doesn't know that somebody has diabetes or somebody has cancer. The only thing that your body really knows is that it's either in balance, and that's when you're optimally healthy, or it's out of balance, and that's when you start to have symptoms. So what we're looking for is to put balance there. All those things that people relate to, either aches or pains or low energy or poor sleep or not being able to perform their daily task or their memory, it's really all going to resolve itself, because now you're bringing balance in. Once you restore the balance, then people start to see the benefit. What we have at Advita Energy is, for the first time, we really have those three things come together in digitized form that we're able to add to a product that you can use at home. People have used nutritionals for years to balance their body, because once again, in the natural food arena, there really is no treatment of disease. There really is just balance. Now, what the nutritionals have done is they also try to balance the body. And do you know how they work? They work because good nutritionals have energy, and good nutritionals provide biophotons. Okay. And that's really the whole purpose behind you taking, maybe 20 or 30 or 60 pills a day. Now, some of them work and some of them don't. But the whole purpose behind it is to provide you with biofrequency, biophotons, and bioinformation also. So with the advent of computers, and particularly digitized technology, what you're actually able to do is you are able to take the biophotons from nutritionals and imprint them into another media. Now, the other media that we use is hologram discs and hologram bands. Why do we do that? Because they're metallic. Why? Because metal is the best conductor of energy, of electricity, if you will. We're talking in some way energetics, okay? So if we take a look at the hologram, and by the way, I have, I believe, 5 right now on, what happens is that you take the biophotons and you can digitally imprint them through a generator onto these discs or bands. Now, the next question should be, how do they work? So I'm going to ask you to do something, and I didn't ask you to do this before, and I'm going to ask you at home to do the same thing. Follow us. Put your hands together. April, put your hands together. Now, put them as close as you can, but don't touch them. And then hold one palm still and move the other palm just a tiny bit. Now, do you feel anything between your palms? Just slowly, slower than that. Do you feel?
Yes.
Okay. What you're feeling is biofield. And then hold them still and pull them apart maybe an inch or 2. Do you feel it?
Yeah.
It's like a taffy.
It is.
And I hope you're doing that at home with us, because what you really are feeling here is biofield. Now, you have children. You actually have more than one.
Yes, I have 5.
That's right. And when you have a baby, as soon as they're able to hold their hands up, they will be playing with their hands. They're actually bathing in their biofield, and they're making themselves healthier, and they're making themselves stronger. So what happens is that digitally imprinted holograms in bands or discs, they in fact are utilized by your biofield, because your biofield extends at least 5 or 6 inches beyond you. So they don't actually have to be tight on your wrist. As long as they are around your body is absorbing them. Isn't that great?
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you're talking about babies, so that goes to my next question. Are the products safe for all ages?
Well, remember, once again, we're not treating, we're not diagnosing, we're not doing anything about, diseases or anything. We're really helping to bring it into balance. And a baby has its own biofield. If the baby is out of balance, unfortunately you have children who may have to have surgeries. Or you can have a child that, variety of things. They're out of balance. So even though we're not going to be treating them, their biofield, in fact, is interrupted. So to use in their vicinity, and in that case, you can put under a sheet in their bed, you can use one of our bands or two of our bands or more of our bands. For example, the recovery or the comfort, and you would bring that biofilm into balance. It doesn't matter whether the baby is 2 weeks old or 102 years old. Well, remember, if the biofilm is interrupted, then eventually it expresses itself in your body, in your organ systems, and in your cell. And, I wish that all of you would start with us when you are 1 year old or 2 years old, but unfortunately, we are meeting people who are in their 90s and, 60s or whatever. So clearly they have a history of imbalances. And it also depends on how shattered the imbalance is. And I use the analogy of a windshield. When you hit with a rock a windshield, it doesn't splatter the glass. If you bought a car about 60 years ago, the glass would just go everywhere. But today it just shatters. And it stays all intact. Millions of lines going through that. Well, people are like that in their bodies, out of balance. Some of them just have a clear cut, they fell down and they have a clear cut broken bone, and others just have a lot of things. So imagine if you are now going to take a crazy glue and you're trying to glue all those pieces together. Isn't it easier if there's just one clear line? Or if there are a million lines? It's going to take time. I don't know if you had a chance to hear Earl. Earl is totally my inspiration. And Earl, if you're watching this, you truly are my inspiration. Earl is 90 years old. And he shared his testimony with us last week or a couple of weeks ago. And he said, when I took your products the first week, I didn't feel any difference. And then the second week, I really didn't feel much either. Third week, all the years of aches and pains and the clarity just kind of melted away.
Wow.
And to me, that is the most appropriate testimonial for our product. Because yes, we will have some people who will notice it in 20 minutes. But I guarantee you, not everybody is going to notice the benefits in 20 minutes. So please be like Earl and give it a chance before you can bring your body into balance. And that is what really it's intended for, is to bring the balance in whatever level, whatever the system, whatever the organ, it's to bring balance. And sometimes it just takes longer time. Anybody who is in the health arena, whether they are in allopathic or they are in alternative or complementary, compliance is really at the top. Because no matter how good a product is, if it sits in your cupboard or if it sits on a shelf, it won't do you any good. And the compliance with these is, I would say, close to 100%. Because how easy is it to put it on, clasp it on, and forget about it for a week? A week.
Right.
Now, let's clarify that as well. In some cases, it may not be a week. In some cases, when people have really major issues, major imbalances, they either may have to change it every couple of days until they build it to the point that it will last a week. But here again, it's not that it's not working. Just think of that shattered windshield. If you have a lot of lines to fill in with that crazy glue, it's going to take a little while.
Oh, yeah.
So that's important to remember as well.
Sure, because it took a while to get to that state, so it's going to take a while to recover from that or to come back into balance, so that makes perfect sense.
A lot of times women who are going through menopause, the sentence that they use, and I never really quite understood because I didn't go through those, but they would say, I feel like I'm back. I feel like I'm back. They feel like they have regained their well-being and their balance. And whatever that being back means, I think that's awesome. In some cases, people will say, oh, well, that's just a placebo effect. They just want to feel better. Let's talk about pets. Because if you really think that this is placebo, how many pets have we had that, they were going through operation or they were having issues, they couldn't walk, they couldn't climb, and you put a hologram band on a pet and it just jumps up in 3 days. Okay, if you have a pet that is that smart, that can read the instructions and tell you the hologram had a placebo effect, I'd like to see it. These are powerful products. Some people will notice a difference and change their life in a day, and some like Earl in 3 weeks, but they're still very powerful products.